Right, this is a video which is going to incorporate several things. I'm going to talk about end clips, what rubbers that I use, and different types of seals that are on windows. So, first of all, let's look at this window. This is a sealless window, and we can see that it's quite thick. And when we're working on this kind of window, it's quite easy because you've got no chance of the squeegee falling off and leaving contact with the glass. So very easy window for this squeegee to work on and perform great results. All you got to bear in mind is when it comes to closing out, close out at the bottom, not at the edge, because the rubber will not meet the contact of the frame. So let's talk about rubber seals for a second. What you got on windows is varying angled thickness in thickness and in angles where it sits on the window. Some seals are very easy to work on. Some rubbers abrasive. If it's old, it can be a bit cause friction. Most rubber seals, once they're wet and soapy, glide very well though. And we come to a thing called, what I like to say, paper thin rubber seals. And what it is it's a seal that is paper thin, and it comes out on the glass. It's like a millimetre or so thickness on the actual glass, and it contours around the edge of the frame. It could be any thickness really. It could come out here, it could come out here, doesn't matter, because it's where it meets the glass is where it's paper thin, and the squeegee rubber has to contact that part, not this part of the seal. It has to contact here to get a complete detail-free result, not past there. It has to hit where it's laying at its flattest. Right, so we've got screaming kids in the background, so just bear that in mind. I'm at home. And right, so we've got people who made videos with their end clips, and what they've done is they can't use the bloody tool. So instead of changing the way they work, their working setup, they're on this mission of finding the perfect solution to work with, but they'll never find the solution mixed in a bottle or in a bucket. You're never going to find it. So you're gonna what they do is they make videos saying, oh well, I flattened out my end clip and now I don't get any issues using it. Well, the people who did that still have issues. They just have issues elsewhere. I suggest to disregard everything that person or those people said, because it's rubbish. Why is it rubbish? Right, so this tool has to perform on all types of window. Sealless window, rubber seal window. They're the two types of windows that we come up against, but in those two types there's lots of various different scenarios. Frames, seals are all different. This has to cater for everything. So we need a downward pressure. Why do we need downward pressure? We need a downward pressure because when it comes to these flat laying seals, we need that rubber to be stable, and we need it to not go over the seal. If it goes over the seal, what it does is it leaves a wet patch the length of how much it's lifted, and you won't get it here, you'll get it all the way over here, and you need to use the rag, and that all slows you down. So don't interfere with changing the end clip. All them people needed to do was two things: slow down, add soap to the glass, use a wet washer, rub it in, you got the perfect window cleaning solution. No, but no, they won't listen. They're not interested. Their way is the best way, but their way never works. They'll never ever get it to work. This is how you're going to get it to work, by listening from the person who knows more about this particular squeegee than anybody. So don't bend the end clips up, but also now take what I say with a pinch of salt, because all my end clips, all of them, I've got squeegees from 5.5 inches all the way to 22 inches. All of them have been bent forwards, downwards I should say, downwards. Well, I'm doing exactly the opposite what those other people were doing. But why do I do that? Well, I do that because I work with a lot of flat seals, I work with a lot of skill, with a lot of technical advanced techniques, which does require me to have a higher performance end clip. Now the theory is, let's use this 14-inch first. When I'm putting the pressure on the squeegee, where's the pressure mainly based? It's mainly based where the handle stem is. The further it comes out of the channel, the more dispersed the pressure is. So you imagine a 22-inch that comes out here. How am I going to compensate for the dispersed pressure? Well, what I do is I bend the end clips down. How do I bend the end clips? Well, I boil the kettle, pour boiling water into a mug, I shove it right to the bottom, and I press down. And I leave it there for a few seconds, only 2 or 3 seconds, with the various pressures, because I'll talk about the various end clips that I change. Change the angle. When it's under cold tap, it's now reset at a different angle. So this is the theoretical side of the end clips that I do. The longer the channel, the more downward pressure I have. The shorter the channel, the less downward pressure I have. So all my end clips are varying. But you don't really need to do that. Not many people use a 22-inch. If you tried using a 22-inch liquidator and get detail-free results, it's a tricky thing. What helps is slow down, maneuver the position, the squeegee in the right positions, use the soap solution that I do, then you'll get good results. Otherwise you're not going to get the desired results. And also I use very complex maneuvers, so that's what I do. You don't have to do it my way. If you want to get to the next level of window cleaning in terms of techniques and how quick you can get the jobs done, then bear it in mind, but just stick to the basics. So what do? I do exactly the opposite of the people who can't use the tool. Exact 180 degrees. And many of the things that people find problems with, if they 180 degree change the way they think, they'll get the desired results. So I've talked about flat laying seals, I've talked about end clips. There's something else that works hand in hand with this very flat laying seal. The type of rubber that I always use is a soft rubber over the hard rubber. Mainly I use Mormon rubber, but I will use other rubbers as well, but mainly it's Mormon. Mormon is a high performing rubber. Once you've got the soap solution added, the way I do it, it's like working on ball bearings on ice. So smooth, so the glide is great, and I don't use a lot of pressure. So if you're using soft rubber, you apply less pressure. Now when it comes to these flat laying seals, why does soft rubber perform better than hard rubber? Well, we've got no contouring, or less contouring with hard rubber. It's more stiff. And what happens if it's stiff and it doesn't hug and caress the edges? What's going to happen is if it's hard rubber and you don't, well, you've got to slow down either way. You always adapt to your working environment. If you're working on lower flat laying seals, you slow down. You just adjust your way of working, because it's all about getting the job 100% done, not having to stop or get the job done half done and then you've got to fix all the mistakes. That's what slows you down. Slowing down but making sure you've got no mistakes, that's how you work quickly overall. So soft rubber, it contours, it hugs, it caresses the frame as long as you slow down. But if it's hard and it's stiff, more than likely it's going to ride up over that, and if it rides up over that seal, you're now creating a gap underneath the squeegee, and you're making a mess, and that needs all fixing at the end of the day. So that is why I use soft rubber. But a lot of people say, well, my soft rubber, it only lasts a day or two. So, well, I recycle my rubbers, and I'll tell you a quick story about what I did with one particular long piece of rubber. So I had As you probably know, I've got 22 inch, 20 inch, 18, 16, 14, 12, all the way down to 5.5 inch squeegees, all in them increments. I used a 22 inch squeegee rubber, soft, and I used it for 9 months. And I used it to death in a 22 inch, and then I cut down the ends. It's normally where the ends where it wears out. The middle part is still usable, and I put it into the next stage and the next stage, and so I changed it. I changed it up to 4 or 5 times before I noticed the rubber was not performing as a rubber should. By the time I got down to 10 inch and 12 and 8 inch and the 6.5 inch squeegee, what I found is the solution was not really being cut off the glass. It was kind of working, but when I made a turn, there was a lot of smudging and smearing. So there comes a time when the rubber stops working. You probably think, well, why did you do that? Well, I wanted to do that because I wanted to find answers. I wanted to get answers, and knowledge helps you with your skill, and vice versa. If you've got good skill, that gives you knowledge, that gives you answers. And this is the job that I do. I don't do anything else, so I need to be informed and kept up to date with the latest, especially squeegee developments. I just need to know, and then when I know, I relay my information to Moorman, and then they use that information for whatever purpose. But you can easily use a rubber 3 or 4 times before it stops working. You just cut it down and use it in a smaller channel. But it was all soft rubber. And that's my story of I got a rubber to last 9 months. Wouldn't suggest you do that, but I know the answers now, and it was an interesting times. I learned quite a lot about it. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's 12 minutes long. I've sort of got lots of things covered in that video, and quite interesting. I think it's quite interesting. So hopefully you found it interesting too.